The Institute of Directors Nigeria hosted its 2020 Annual Directors Conference, which discussed the theme Business Ethics, Leadership, and Sustainability as New Frontiers of Corporate Governance. Considering the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic and recent social unrest in the country, the conference was majorly virtual, with a few attendees at the physical venue of the event. In his opening remarks, the president of IOD Nigeria, Chief Chris Okunowo, FIOD, said at the end of the conference, a roadmap, communique, will be developed on the pathway to achieving development through good governance and ethics.
The theme of this year's conference, Business Ethics, Leadership, and Sustainability as New Frontiers of Corporate Governance, must be devoted to providing, in a very unique, way, communique at the end of the conference, a map of the pathways to show us and the country the way forward. It must do so in a manner that helps define a new code of professional ethics, leadership reorientation, and new frontiers of corporate governance that is anchored on not only for or primarily profit-making and returning high dividends to our various shareholders. We must commit more vigorously and faithfully to the new business and corporate ethos defined in various international and African regional standards, conventions, and codes as corporate social responsibility, as a way of giving back to the society and engaging with order than our shareholders to build a better, egalitarian, humane, just, and kind society. We must find ways of dismantling what we have now and what the 19th century British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, in his book Sibyl, long ago then characterized as the two nations, then cohabiting dangerously together in his country. We must rebuild Nigeria into one nation, characterized and glued together in his country, together by the social and ethical bonds of compassion, distributive justice, empathy, and solidarity. We must be our brothers or sisters' keeper. We must find ways of removing market imperfections that make it easy for the few to amass wealth unfairly, while the weak and the poor are exposed to more vulnerabilities that deny them human security. That is guaranteed under Chapter 2 of the Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy of our Constitution.
Special guest of honor and Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, in his address said the argument in favor of business ethics is getting stronger, and it was important for Nigeria to adopt governance and ethical-based leadership to achieve sustainable growth.
The Institute takes the credit for the development of Nigeria's finest breed of business executives and directors in the fulfillment of their legal and personal responsibilities to the corporate entities they serve, and of course to Nigeria as a whole. But I'm particularly excited about the recent efforts of the Institute to standardize the practice of sound ethical values and lead by example with the introduction of the IOD Code of Ethics 2020 for members and staff of the Institute in August 2020. I therefore congratulate the President, Chief Chris Okunowo, who many of you know is from the best schools in the world, Igobi College, and the Faculty of Law, University of Lagos, for steering the course of the Institute towards global best practices. I'm sure I'm offering no prizes for guessing that the two schools I mentioned are also the schools that I attended. My brief remarks will center around a question that has occupied my mind for many years and led to my co-founding the Convention of Business Integrity with my friend and brother Soji Apapa in 1997 I believe Soji is also listed to speak today. How do you most effectively convey the truth to corporate entities, to companies, that integrity pays, that business ethics is as crucial to the bottom line and to everything else as the other more obvious factors in delivering profitability and recognition and success for a company? The question is complicated by the notion that business ethics is itself an oxymoron, a contradiction in terms. How can you survive in the cutthroat survival of the fittest environment of business with any kind of concern for morality? Besides, in countries where regulatory oversight and law enforcement is weak or slow, there would seem to be, at least in the short term, no particular advantage in choosing ethical behavior over profit. But the arguments in favor of business ethics are much stronger. Aside from the more obvious connection between respect for obligations, sanctity of contracts, and the reliability or trustworthiness and business success, clearly unethical practices, unethical accounting practices, false communication to shareholders or to the public, where it is sanctioned by leadership, results at least in employee cynicism and defeats the commitments to corporate visions and objectives. If the employees believe that the bosses are crooks or prepared to bend the rules, they will also seek ways, at least some of them, of short-circuiting the rules for personal benefit. Besides, for others, the frequent clashes between conscience and wrongful behavior will eventually create a toxic work environment and destroy corporate objectives and visions.
The keynote speaker and professor of decision sciences INSEAD, France, Marc de Menestrel, in his speech said, "Mastering leadership requires developing effective and meaningful perspectives on the power dynamics."
Basically, business is about making money. And what is happening is that investing money in order to make money is a waste of life. It's the case for us as a human being. We know it, What's the point of making money when you cannot even spend time with your daughters or with your kids, because they are sent abroad or they are not available to you, So it has no meaning. So it is the same for government. Most government in the world today invest money in order to make money. But this is useless. This cannot work. And it does not work either for companies. If we organize business and if we organize governance as a way to take decisions in order to make money, it will not work. And it does not work. And we see it every day, and we all know it. It is dysfunctional. So what can we do, and what can we do? What do we do at INSEAD to teach governance beyond the pursuit of money is to add two main concerns. The first one is to go back to what you like doing, what you love doing. Why do you want to wake up in the morning? Why do you want to go to work? It is because you have some love for your work. So we have to go back to what we love doing. This is our values. And this is independent of what's going to be the consequence. Of course we look at the consequence. But we need to go back to this root of being a human. And the second thing that we need to look at is, okay, we're going to make money. Why? What's the point? Why economic growth for government? We know that economic growth is not providing happiness. So why governments are pursuing economic growth? And then we find solutions which are, for instance, to alleviate poverty. So then, okay, we want to alleviate poverty. In order to alleviate poverty, We need money, so we are going to organize a taxation system in order to have money so that to alleviate poverty, for instance. The same for company. What is the purpose of your company? If your company has for only objective or only strategy to make money, there is no guarantee that your company is not, in fact, just creating the problem.
The event featured 2 plenary sessions covering the nexus between ethical leadership and corporate governance practice, and ethical leadership as an instrument for national sustainability in the post-oil Nigerian economy, looking at a public sector perspective. Chief Chris Okunowo and Mr. Dele Alimi, the Director General and CEO of IOD Nigeria, speak further on the event and its objective for developing organizational transformation and national cohesion.
You will recall from some of the things I said and the acknowledgement given by the Vice President of the Federal Republic about ethical behavior. And the ethical angle is the fact that it goes to the fact that when you do any act, right, when you do any act that does not, you may be right, but then is it really right? You may be right legally to say this is what I would do, but then what you're about to do, is it really right for you to do it? The IOD has recognized this very much, and this is why we have launched our code of ethics, both for our members as well as for our staff, all our employees. And therefore, there's a need. There's a need for IOD to continue to upgrade this, to continue to disseminate this information. A lot of people do things not because they don't really know, but they are not really aware that, yes, these things can be run in a manner that will be beneficial to all, rather than just looking at our own interest only, that is just to make money. Professor Menestrel, sort of explained it very clearly, that it's not just for the sake of making money. It's for the sake of making money in a manner that will be beneficial to all, that will be sustainable on the long run. Our environment, for example, we do not want to change the world, even though we want to get it better, but really and truly what we need to do is to be much more conscious of how we do these things, and then the environment is a lot better for it. And society benefits at the end of the day.
It's been a tough year, but one way or the other we have to survive, and I am happy that one way or the other a lot of organizations, including the Institute of Directors Nigeria, has worked on ensuring that we work on what will make us survive, what are the business opportunities available and everything. Now, what we've done with this conference is to show people that beyond corporate governance, there's also an intrinsic internal part of it, which is ethics, especially in the way we do business. There's no way we could talk about corporate governance without talking about ethics and how businesses run their operations. You listened to the keynote speaker, and one thing he said that struck me was that we have placed so much emphasis on money, and we forget that we cannot eat money. And I think that dawned on us much earlier this year when we realized that even when you have all the money in your pocket, you stay at home and nothing goes on. So beyond that now, we are now trying to tell businesses we need to look at sustainability. What will sustain business may not actually be the money that the business is making, but will be more of how that business is influencing the sustainability of its environment. When people are not going out, who's going to buy anything from you? When there is flood, how can your business thrive? So as you move along in your business and make your business sustainable in terms of profit, you must also make it sustainable in terms of its contribution to the environment, to the society, and to the people. So that is basically what this conference is about. And the role that business ethics will play in that journey. That's what we're trying to bring out. Now for SMEs and young directors especially, look, I think earlier in the year I spoke somewhere and I told them that the IOD is working on a program. We call it the Young Directors Forum. This Young Directors Forum is addressing the needs of young entrepreneurs, especially who have the intelligence, They have the knowledge, they have the flexibility, and they are daring. But they don't know anything about corporate governance. So you see, they start the business, and over some time, the business die because they have not been able to put in very good structures to run that business. So the Young Directors Forum, which will be launched this month, this November by the Institute, is now addressing that. We're going to be doing corporate governance training, capacity development for these young directors, and we're now going to be doing mentoring. The IOD has a retinue of what I would call a bank of experienced boardroom gurus who can now support pro bono, these young directors and people they can go to when they have issues concerning governance, concerning running their businesses. Some of them don't even know why they need a board. Some of them don't even know why you need to take a second opinion when you want to take a decision. Decisions that can either make or mar your business. So this is what we're going to be doing with them over a long period, and it's going to be like what I would call a process of becoming a member of the institute. So at the end of the day, they will become bona fide members of the institute. But more importantly, we will have helped to sustain and help their business grow.
At a time Nigeria faces the crisis of stability, one major area that will be vital for navigating the attendant socioeconomic challenges will be ethical leadership and the high value for corporate governance.